I hate people on a person-by-person experience. No, I think that a lot of people just have really bad experiences with relationships, and I think that's what probably starts the whole I don't want to be with anyone. Yo, Homeless Guy, I think it was 7 months, man. Yeah, you have one bad experience and it just kind of ruins it. I can relate. Alright. Let's watch this. I'm ready. 3, 2, 1, boom.
Have you ever loved somebody and they broke your heart?
Yes. Tried to fix my widow's peak and cut a new hairline in. Do you guys think it works? That's strong. That is definitely powerful. Holy. Hey, yo, what?
Millions of people have been asking me, hey, Gerbert, why are you always talking about all this incel stuff? What, do you not have any bitches? Here's the thing about this question. It's a very interesting question. In that no one ever seems to ponder the possibility.
We're on a really good start. I like this guy.
That maybe it's that don't have me. Anyways, I decided to talk to a dating therapist to see if I can find a good match. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm a decently handsome guy. I try to put in effort to my appearance. I work out, whatever. It's just...
Wait, is this guy actually a dating therapist? Or...
I don't really know where to start, you know, where to meet girls.
No, okay.
I'm just struggling.
Tell me about what kind of girls you're going after. Like, what are you looking for in a woman?
Someone who can hold me at night. And she has to have big boobies.
Mixed Asian. Half white, half Asian. Big under thigh. Bow! Nice rack. Bing bang. Big tit. Tall.
Big titty!
Like, taller than me, 6 foot tall. 130 plus IQ, 32-inch vertical.
Whoa. That's asking for way too much. 130 IQ?
No tattoos. Debt-free. Virgin. Did I say big?
Chat, you do not want a woman that's smarter than you.
I said big rack, right?
You said big racks, yeah.
Yeah, so that's about it.
Women, they date up. So, what you have to do is you have to schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. The type of woman that you want has to have...
Oh my god. Schizophrenia. Bipolar disorder. Chad, I've dealt with women that have actual mental disorders. It is not fun. Like, they're fun in a lot of ways, but then it's not so fun when shit hits the fan.
Have either 2 or 3 of these mental disorders. Everyone with auras, they have a roster. And in order to create a roster, you need to pray after mentally disabled women.
This is why Face Connect is a pretty popular, what is it called? VTuber company? Yeah. I can see that. Yo, Face Connect hooked me up. I'm kidding.
Let's be real. You're white. You're pasty. You are milk.
Yeah.
You are vanilla. You have 0 flavor. There is 0 seasoning to you. How to manipulate an autistic woman. And that's where the dark triad comes in, because the dark triad is quite literally black.
Autistic women. You know what's funny? I'm pretty sure that, like, you can't really tell when a woman is, like, autistic because they mask better than men, apparently. That's, like, a study someone conducted.
No, you're not advanced yet for the dark triad bedroom game. When you meet an autistic woman and This is obviously going to be after you've black maxed, right?
Yeah.
After I have this course, it's going to tell you everything that you need to know about using the dark triad and also the female triad that I told you about earlier. And on top of that, it's going to teach you all the tricks that you need to take advantage of the schizophrenic. The full
smiling.
course is going to be roughly $998.86. It is a big investment, but I need you
That sounds like a
to steal that
steal.
investment so that you can be invested in this course.
True. This guy's a hustler. Damn.
You may have seen this general social survey graph from 2018, but
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing this a long time ago.
you probably haven't seen the updated version of 2022. The older graph shows that male virginity has supposedly skyrocketed since 2012.
Right.
But the newer one shows that since then it has plummeted. I, like many
Oh.
other people, even recently, surmised that this was an ongoing trend, only getting worse, especially because it was pre-pandemic. Let's just
That's what I thought. No, for real. I remember we watched a video that talked about this specific graph, and obviously there's no new data, or at least not recently, that I saw, and I thought it would have gone like up like this way.
say the rate of growth was consistent. If we would extend the graph to 2022,
Yeah.
the number would be around 38%. But we're coming to find out that maybe it was just a blip, bald head bitch. Is this whole
Damn.
idea of an ever-growing incel population, women only wanting to
engage with jazz,
leaving many men to be virgins, some sort of illusion? A way of chronically online men to project their own failures onto a larger societal problem? As the saying goes, misery loves company. Is there actually a rising virginity rate? Are more and more men becoming incels? How many incels are there actually? You'll find out in this video.
I think incel is a very strong word. I think some people just choose not to be in a relationship anymore. Like, I have a brother and he's older than me. I might have accidentally pressed something. God damn it. My brother is older than me, and after he had a really bad breakup for like 5 years, he just didn't date anyone. He didn't even look at anyone. He just focused on himself and like his career, and that was it. And I think that's what happens.
How is it that in 2018 the virginity rate was almost 1/3 of all men, but in 2022 it plummeted?
I think I accidentally... Did I? Oh yeah, my bad, sorry.
More men becoming incels? How many incels are there actually? You'll find out in this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, lookofthedead.com for merch.
Why is he sucking
How
on
is
a
it
toe?
that in 2018 the virginity rate was almost 1/3 of all men, but in 2022 it plummeted? That doesn't even make sense post-COVID.
No.
Well, the truth is that these general social study surveys have quite a low sample size. Better
That is tiny. 120 people on average? Yeah. I think they lied. I think some people don't answer truthfully, but it's like, how do you realistically test that someone is like, you know, not in a relationship? Some people could have lied.
data sets with over 10 times the sample size
Yeah, that's decent. 2,000? Yeah.
show that virginity is steadily increasing very marginally. It's not nearly as sensational as the 2018 graph that went viral. Also, in this graph, the rates between men and women are quite similar and following the same trend. Now, again, these are all surveys. It's not like scientists are running around gathering the fiber off of these guys' scrotums to actually prove concretely whether or not they're getting laid. Okay, they could be lying. There could be a
Yeah, there's like there's like a word for it, but when you're answering a survey and the social pressure of like answering it truthfully, you might just not want to do it, even if it's anonymous, because it's like the internal struggle. Some people just don't want to answer.
Hawthorne effect going on here. But it would be dishonest to say that's what's going on with this newer graph when everybody on the internet took the 2018 General Social Survey graph at complete face value. People will...
What if they took this survey and then it kind of perpetuated into the culture, like, to some degree? What if that happened? Maybe that was influenced or in some way because of terminally online, like, people sitting on Twitter seeing this graph and be like, yeah, I freaking knew it. Like a butterfly effect or something of that nature.
On the internet, latch on to the most sensational, extreme data there is, even though it's far from the best. And then draw, I did the same thing, drawing all these conclusions. And I mean, there is a slight trend going on.
I did see, I saw multiple videos using that graph. I think Shoe on Head had one that was about male celibacy or something of that degree, that she brought up that graph. I believed it. I had no idea that it was only 120 people that took that test. Small sample sizes skew the actual nature of a study very much so. I learned that in college. It was like the most basic thing.
But it's not that crazy. In actuality, you might just be a fucking loser. So are incels valid? I guess it depends. If it's just about getting laid, there are a lot of girls nowadays that aren't too picky with that sort of thing. They're very loosey-goosey. They've been hopping on Ween like a daily routine long before...
Dude, this guy's a poet! No, seriously.
Before the day they've turned 18. I suppose you could call them... Well, I mean, I'm pretty tolerant. I would call them free, expressive, but I've heard them been referred to as dirty whore. Point is...
True! Would you rather be an incel or a cuck? No, I would rather be an incel. I would rather be alone than to watch someone I like getting porked. Like, what kind of question is that? That is stupid. Yeah. No, thank you. I'm good. His hand? Yeah. I see it, chat. I see it.
If you just want to have sex, I really don't think that itself is that hard. I don't find it to be a remarkable feat. I don't think you have to be a particularly impressive guy. I hate to say the cliche thing, but I've seen a lot of conventionally unattractive guys have success with getting laid a lot. They're just out.
Even when I was in school and all these girls were like talking about like getting laid and stuff, I remember there was a lot of girls that lost their virginity like pretty early. It's more about confidence than looks. Yeah, I would say that's a big factor. Yeah, casual sex. I remember they would go to parties and stuff and like, have sex with boys and then brag about it. I thought that was very strange, but then again, I also played World of Warcraft, so I can't talk. And League? Ew. Yeah, I don't know. I never went to those parties. I've been to like maybe a total of 3 parties in my life. And that was like for like drinking and stuff. Yeah. League? No, I did play League for a bit, but it was mostly WoW. I play WoW and League, but I'm a fuckboy. What's the problem? No, you're not. You typing in a Twitch chat. You're lying.
This whole chat only thing, it basically all comes from data from online dating, which is a sausage fest that shouldn't be taken seriously. The internet bleeds into real life a little bit, but there are...
Yeah, Kanye West being with Kim Kardashian It's all about the power and the confidence. It's all about the power.
Plenty of normal people getting together.
Easy.
If you look at the data honestly, or you could just go outside and see them. So how many incels are there actually? Some people would posit that they don't exist, that any man, if he tries hard enough, can find a partner if he just...
There's a really old episode from The Simpsons where Marge finds her old boyfriend from, like, high school, and he has a lot of money, and she ends up picking Homer over him because she loves Homer, but, like, the long story short of it is that he tried to sway her with, like, money and, like, confidence and, like, being cool and, like, being famous. And I think that's a big factor for a lot of people as well. Like, you might not be conventionally attractive or like an 8 out of 10, but if you have confidence and you're funny, for me personally, I think funny is like one of the biggest factors for like dating someone or being friends with someone even.
Does the right things, as if human sexuality is completely moral and fair and there's no genetic factors involved. There are some people, some true cells, they're called, in the sort of incel vernacular. Men with autism have a very high chance of being a virgin. I don't think it's really people's place to sit there and gaslight these guys when they're on a fundamentally different social wavelength, so they're valid. Life circumstances do produce genuine incels, but there aren't a lot of them. They're actually relegated to the bottom percentages of men.
Yeah.
Not like many people would claim that the bottom 80% of men aren't getting any action whatsoever. Even guys that might
Have you ever been to a job and you just saw some guy who's just like he does like hard drugs or he just drinks all the time or something and he still has a girlfriend? Like, realistically, there is someone out there for you. You probably just don't have the confidence or you just don't want to for your own personal reasons. You can. Like, it's possible. Yeah, because they're on drugs too. Well, I mean, that's that. I might have like gone a little bit too far, but like, I remember someone told me a story of a guy that would go out drinking every night, and he still had a wife that he went back home to, and he was not super attractive.
Consider themselves incels or incel adjacent. Usually aren't going to be that. I'm not even sure if a lot of self-identified incels are even less attractive than the average guy. There are a select...
Yeah, they could also be really, really smart. I think there's like a study of like people who have like above average like population IQ. They are a lot more miserable and cynical, so they just can't find someone who is on the same level due to circumstances of life and maybe even like career choices. It sucks because it's like you can't really meet someone in today's age unless it's like online, but even then online doesn't really carry over because online relationships don't work out because you're not meeting in person, and meeting in person is a massive factor in dating. Yeah, I just don't go out a lot. I mean, that's also another thing. I think a lot of people post-pandemic don't really want to go outside. They're less inclined. Anything that isn't swiping right is considered creepy. Yeah, that's another thing. I think culturally we've also devolved into like dating apps being the most acceptable, what is it called? It's like, it's one of the more acceptable ways of like meeting people, and back in the day, it used to be more about like going out and meeting with the community. I got nothing to do in my shithole of a town. That sucks, man. Nowadays, it's just like Discord e-kittens and like guys playing Valorant who are higher ranked than them trying to like develop a relationship. but it doesn't mean anything because I think there's stories of people who used to not like use the internet to pursue romantic relationships or even just friendships in general. They would go outside and meet people. And now it's like lessened so much over time that people are suffering.
Few of true selves. But really for most guys, it is a matter of standards. How low are you willing to go? I can go use these apps or go get drunk enough to be sociable and pork a 4. If you haven't, it might sort of eat away at you. You might think it's way...
Yes, actually, that's a really good point. You could go pork a 4, but you're not gonna marry a 4 because you probably have an internal ego inside of yourself that won't let you. And that's why it's called settling. Some people just settle for a 4 or 5.
Way more impactful and better than it actually is. But if you do it, you realize there's nothing there. It's quite pointless and kind of gross. So I'm not technically involuntarily celibate. And despite what the internet would tell you with cherry-picked bad data, most men aren't. But it's not like these goofy internet words actually mean anything anyways.
No, they do. I think he's having a really good dialogue. How old is this guy? He's pretty freaking smart. I like his Lacoste shirt. Or jumper. He's 21, 20. Damn, bro. Yo, he's got it together. I think he's really smart. He's really articulate. Yo, Voice in the Walls! Thank you the $50! Are you shitting me? Thank you so much, man. Alan Nan Plush Hug Lots. Yo, thank you. Alan Nan Plushie is coming out on August 13th, by the way. Hit him up. Bro, don't be weird. No, thank you. Done his homework. This is my first time watching this video, or like from this guy, and I'm just like, damn.
But does this mean that there are no legitimate gripes? There are no good points raised by these guys? Is dating today completely fine and you're just a loser if you have problems with it? I suppose it would be fair to call me an incel, because when I look at postmodern dating, when I look at the state of relationships today, I do hate it. I do despise almost everything that I see. I think it's deeply twisted and all fucked up. Allow me to...
I think that people are also a lot more brutal nowadays. There's not a lot of like censorship, and the internet allows people to get roasted, and like the likelihood of you getting into a relationship with a chick or a guy, and then if you break up with them and your DMs are all over the internet, and if you're if you're in the age bracket between like 18 and 25 now, that likelihood of you like getting found and having that privacy of like a relationship being made fun of in the internet is extremely high, even if you're not an influencer, because like everyone has a Twitter now, everyone has a Snapchat now, everyone has an Instagram. God knows if they have like a couple of thousand followers and then they leak you're like, oh, he broke up with me, and then he would say these things, like my ego would get hurt if that happened to me. It's horrible.
To define my parameters for a successful relationship. The longest running study of human happiness is quite thorough. It's been going on for 70-something years,
seen this, yeah.
Studying the same sample group. Frequently, there are check-ins. They don't just give these people surveys. They do blood work, brain scans, test every measure of their mental and physical health, which are correlated. What did they find, you ask? Well, people with close personal relationships. Now, the original study group is old now. This is almost always supplied by their life partner, their marriage. People with strong, close personal relationships, by every metric, were better off.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's It's literally human nature. I'm not surprised at all. Yeah, I've read this study before. It's like overall your blood pressure is like lower, not like to, you know, dangerously bad levels, but like it's lower because you're not like stressed all the time. How many of you guys have had like your parents say something like, "Oh, when are you gonna have kids? When are you gonna get grandkids?" Or like, "When are you gonna give me grandkids?" Because I get that all the fucking time and it gets so fucking tiring. Even though they mean well, it's so tiring to me. Yeah, it's just constant. They gave up? No, my parents have not given up. But like my point is, like, you know what's funny? My brother had a child like a couple of years ago, like 5-6 years ago. And that dampened it a little bit, but then it's starting to come creeping back up again. They're like, "So, your older brother had a child. When are you gonna have one?" And I'm just like, "Oh, you want me to have a child in this economy? Hell no."
Physically, mentally, they felt less physical pain. And with their old age, in feeling this physical pain, they felt less demoralized by the pain. Having a strong relationship, especially as you get older, your body gets weaker, it's quite important for your happiness, according to the longest running study of human happiness. So with that being said, a successful relationship is a lifelong bond with children, most likely sanctioned by marriage. So, what are the chances of this relationship happening? For me, for anyone like me. By the way, I use relationship in quotes because that's a new term. It used to just be, oh, there's a girl, we're married. If you think about the term, it's extremely vague. It doesn't actually mean anything. We're in a relationship. And now it's gotten even more vague with a situationship. It doesn't even the relationship is
Oh my god. The word situationship.
already vague. Now it's a situationship. What the fuck are you even talking about? So how many
When I worked in retail, there was a girl that I knew that used the word situationship, and this was before I even knew what the word meant. And I was like, "What does that mean?" She's like, "Well, you know, we're like not a thing, but then we're also a thing." And I said, "So you're sleeping around?" And she's like, "Yeah, I like sleep with different men." And I was like, "Okay, that's not what I would call it, but I don't think you're in a relationship. I think you're just sleeping around." Yeah, I don't know.
called relationships succeed. Besides all this Chad
Mocking.
and kind of goofy shit, this is the real black pill. There are two endings to a relationship: breakup and marriage. As high as 85% of dating ends in breakups. 85% of people will have gone through a breakup. The average relationship lasts around 2 or 3 years. People will have gone through about 5.
I also read a study that on the 4th year is the biggest year of breaking up, because at 4 years you start to be with someone for so long that you realize what they are. Also, what the hell is that foot, man? At 4 years is the average breakup of like actual serious relationships. Apparently, that's like a study that they did.
Relationships before they get married. The marriage rate is just over 30%. Most people are getting married in their late 20s, early 30s. So yeah, the marriage rate is already quite low, but how many marriages themselves are successful? Again, success to me includes children. I'll mention here that less than half of Zoomer women even want to have children.
Was that 60%? Even as they delay marriage and parenthood, our survey finds that most young adults who have never been married, 69% said they want to get married. A smaller share, 51%, said they would like to have children. Wow, dude. Yeah, I'm not surprised. So we want to have kids in this economy.
30% of marriages are childless.
Holy moly.
Childless marriages are more prone to divorce. Another 20% are only children. I'm including this because...
And And also women are like kind of career driven now as opposed to wanting to be like a woman that sits at home like it used to be. Like my mom went through a period of where she didn't have a job because my dad had a secure enough job, and then I think around about after 2008 my mom started to teach again, and that's when they had to work. And so she was not a stay-at-home mom anymore. It's both like an economy and like a oh, women have to work kind of thing too.
Growing up as an only child is quite sad usually, and it fucking blows. You've probably heard that the divorce rate is about 55%. It isn't just the divorce rate, but the amount of marriages that arguably should be divorced on account of certain factors. We can't know the exact number of these because it's much more qualitative, but dead bedrooms, they're just staying together for the kids, they don't want to go through the process of being divorced, so that's not very good. I'm not saying don't try, I'm still going to, but it looks pretty grim. You know, dudes obsessing over looks and not being able to get laid is kind of a chronically online diversion. This in itself is mostly driven by social ineptitude, which is a consequence of a lack of community. And there is a lack of community because there's no family. Family is...
I totally agree, and also women are more out of the house because they are more career driven. Japan is a good example of this because they used to have the opposite, and now because of the expectation of women and men working, it's happening over there too. It's not just America or the West. It's both. Yeah.
The prototype for all community. A return to community requires...
Everyone has to be career driven at this point or else we don't eat. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But again, like a good example was my parents. My mom didn't have to work because my dad had a really good job, and then 2008 happened. She had to pick up a part-time job as a teacher, and yeah. It really sucks because I liked having my mom home when I came home. And when I was going into like middle school and high school, I just always came home to like an empty house most of the time. I was super happy when my mom would come home and she was there.
A return to family. Yeah. A return to family requires a sacrifice in personal action. People always talk about returning to community, wanting that back, but the truth is we have been freed from communal bonds and pursuits. There's a tendency to offload the whole problem into something like places not being walkable, walkability. Well, Tokyo and many parts of Europe.
Yeah, I was about to bring up the Japan thing again because Japan is very like population centric, and in Tokyo, I think like 80% of Japan's population lives in Tokyo, or 60? I can't remember. Something really ridiculous. And it doesn't matter. They're still fucked.
Are perfectly walkable, and they're facing the same thing. Our libertine modern utopias want all the benefits of tightly knit communities while paying none of the costs of individual freedom. It seems to me like there's actually nothing fair or moral about human sexual behavior, and we actually just can't be left to our own devices and expect things to work out. Instead of...
Yeah, essentially. Humans are not perfect. Humans suffer from corruption in every aspect, in my opinion. If in a perfect world, the hunger, disease, and everything else wouldn't happen, but here we are.
Family formation, we now find a dating scene, which almost inevitably turns into a shit show. A modern date is basically just an interview with a stranger, where you used to be set up in a community where you already know each other. There's nothing weird about it. I know almost inevitably there are going to be people saying, oh, you're thinking about this too much. I mean,
I agree with this guy. When I installed Tinder one time when I was in college, in my first year, I installed it, and I got a DM, and we were talking, and then all of a sudden the guy asked about my bra size, and I was like, okay, I'm uninstalling this, and I never downloaded another dating app in my life ever again. I was like, I can't do this. I'm good. Like, it was so out of left field, too. It was like in the first, like, 10, 20 messages. We hadn't even met yet. He's like, how big's your boobies? And I'm paraphrasing, but he, like, basically said it. And I was like, what? What? And then I almost threw my phone. I remember I was so surprised. I was like shocked. I was like, is this a prank? Am I on the internet? What happened? But no, it was like Tinder from my like local town. And I was like, oh, this is gross.
I guess it's possible. I never really wanted to. I wish things would just work out, but the reality is the reality.
No, it wasn't a dick pic, but still.
And also a counterpoint,
True.
Maybe you're not thinking about it enough. It's actually exactly the problem. There's no foresight. There's no planning ahead. It's all just completely reactive. The way we matchmake in the West now is all short-term, reactive, responding to things as opposed to long-term planning, which is what it always used to be. Communities, your family, your community actively works planning ahead in matchmaking you. Now you're just on your own. In order to maintain our civilization.
I think he has a point, but also for me, the idea of being match-made with some random in my village. So let's put it into perspective. It'll be like a village, right? I feel like I would go into like I would have a heart attack. Hell no. No, thank you.
High investment parenting,
That's
monogamy, and higher birth rates are required.
It's not just random. No, I understand it's not random, but if you're stuck with them and it ends up not being like even like a half decent match, I'm talking about like a less than 40% match, you're done. You're screwed. You're just stuck with that person. Like, what? Yeah, and that's what blows.
And there none of these things are being met. And for most people, it doesn't even seem like there's an effort for these type of things to be met. So in this way, it is in fact over. Can these things recover? I don't know. Maybe. I'm like 13 years old. I don't have solutions or prescriptions.
Arranged marriage over secular marriage, because 70% divorce rates proves that people clearly can't choose their own matches correctly. Yeah, I agree. I understand where he's coming from, and I think that he is correct in the sense that America and a lot of Western audiences have completely moved away from communities because of like how little time people have for one another, like including like careers and like this and like kids and the economy. Like, let's brush all that aside. I think that the community has fallen apart. Like, compared to like the 1950s or 1970s, it's just not there anymore. Over the last like century, it's just completely fallen apart.
But, you know, I'm chilling. It'll be worked out. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah!
But yeah, keep on mewing. I'm sure that'll help, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, start mogging. Wait, are they really... Alright. Okay. His Twitter DMs? I hope those aren't his, man. Dude, this is a great video. This guy is smart, man. A viral graph revealed he yabbed basically about because of one graph. Speed dating streamed with chat when? Chat, you don't want to date me. I'm gross. Chat wouldn't want me. Fuck no. Yep, there you go. Hell no. Dating a woman? We are kind of out of your league. So true. It's... 21 isn't that young. I beg to differ. I mean, it's not that young, but I think he's pretty articulate for a 21-year-old. Like, I was kind of a fucking dipshit. Silence child.